Openyin Kwejo Ado Eja, Nana Kwesi Preko, Head Abetifi Community Accra and Tema, Oba Penyin Amadonko, Abetifi, Ebusia Penin Kwesi Mante of Abetiase Aprede, Madam Janet Sampong, Madam Paulina Sampong, Madam Esther Ofusua Sampong, Madam Hilda Ansoma Sampong, Reverend Herbert Enim Opong, former clerk of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Madam Ernestina Santuai Sari, Kwabna Jemfi Sampong, Oforiata Ado, Stephen Owusu Kwachi, Ellen Abuna Boatema Keteku. The district minister and the entire congregation, Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Kaneshie District, wish to announce the death, burial, and final funeral rites of their dearly beloved Mrs. Catherine Ahenkra Osei Ne Sampong. She was 93. Funeral arrangements are as follows. There will be no wake. Burial and memorial service Friday, 19 January 2024 at Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Kaneshie District, 7:30 a.m. Interment will be private. Thanksgiving service Sunday, 21st January 2024 at 9:30 a.m. at the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Kaneshie District. Attire Friday, black and white. Sunday, white. Children Stanley Ahenkra Osei, deceased, Mrs. Sylvia Obobia Bediakon, Mrs. Margaret Techi Micah, Kenneth Ahenkra Osei, Mary Jean Sampoma Osei, deceased, and Richard Ahenkra Osei. Grandchildren 9, great-grandchildren 5. All friends and sympathizers are cordially invited. The family of Mr. Robert Winston Isiedu, a former headmaster of Achimota School and former director of education at the Ghana Education Service, regret to announce the sad event of his death on Wednesday, the 3rd of January 2024. He was 89. The one-week commemoration will take place on Saturday, the 3rd of February 2024 at his residence at New Achimota, Mile 7. Funeral and related arrangements will be announced in due course. End of the announcements.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
On Joy News and on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto. And you know what happens at this time on a weekday during this period, right? This is AFCON today. And over here, we get together the best possible minds to bring you a proper in-depth analysis of the issues that have been happening at the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. Well, we're 24 hours away from that destiny-defining game that the Black Stars are going to be playing against the Pharaohs of Egypt. But that will be for later. There are other developments in the camp of the Black Stars. There are developments with the fans who have been, meddling in some money issues and are looking forward to doing something to make a statement if something is not done. We'll be getting into that matter, and we'll be going on the grounds to Côte d'Ivoire to have a full feel of what exactly is happening on the ground. There was an earlier report on the Sports Center on Joy 99.7 FM with Fentu Tahiru Fentu earlier today, where there was talk about the Ministry of Youth and Sports handing out monies to some fans and all of that. But another twist to the story. We'll get into that. Now, the heroics of Namibia is a subject that we cannot run away from. And it's because Namibia have given us proof as the first surprise element of this tournament. Were you expecting them to do what they did against Tunisia? Well, we'll be reviewing that. And also, we look at the heroes who now have lost their vibe. I'm talking about the heroes of 1996 in the Bafana Bafana of South Africa. Well, the Bafana Bafana of 1996 definitely is not the Bafana Bafana of 2024. South Africa starting on a jerky note with a loss. We'll be talking about that as well. And coming up, well, the nation that brought Africa great pride to be the most achieved nation at the FIFA World Cup. I'm talking about Morocco. Well, they begin their campaign today, and we'll be getting into how good it could look for them and how challenging it could possibly be as well. All of these and more, plus your thoughts, are here in this one-hour package here on Joy 99.7 FM, on Joy News and on Joy Prime. Remember, Joy News is on 421 on DSTV and Joy Prime is on 281 on the same channel. A round of messages and the conversations start off with my guests who are already seated here in the studio. My name is Nathaniel Atto. You're welcome to AFCON today.
Across Africa, a new era has begun, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow. Across our continent, across the world, we are creating a better way to a better future, a Pan-African future. Together, EcoBank, a better way, a better Africa.
Super Hits Radio. Joy 99.7.
With us here on AFCON today, and we're going to get into the conversations in a bit, like I said. But earlier, you know, I mentioned to you that we're going to hinge a bit on the situation with our supporters. Now, there is a bit of history to all of this. Do remember that back in 2014, the issue of supporters and having support from government so they could move in masses to go and support our national teams around the world with tournaments hit a very big snag because of the happenings at the FIFA World Cup. And of course, a whole commission was set up to look into that matter, and one of the resolutions was that government was not to sponsor the attendance of fans to any tournaments that the Black Stars or any other national team was engaged in. Well, years on, I mean, there have been some form of, reviewing and looking at this again, and, because the truth of the matter is that the national teams have to be supported. And sometimes, due to economic situations, these fans and these supporters, these regular fans, are not able to, embark on these trips. So what really is the situation? Well, in the studio with me are, Victor Achutamaklo of Joy Sports, and also Coach Kwadwo Agyei-Gyimah. Now, they'll be looking at this from different perspectives. And of course, these are conversations that always come up. Now, the question many are asking is, why should each fan be given that amount of money? Is it something that was agreed on before the fans and playing there? We'll be getting some more explanation and clarification as well. We'll also be going onto the ground to Côte d'Ivoire, where our man for the tournament, Muftau Nabila Abdoulaye, has visited these fans who, have their misgivings and their feedback to give, and we'll be bringing it to us, some reports from in there, and would have a good feel of how the situation is like. All right, so gentlemen, good to have you here. Achu, good to see you.
Good to be back on the show.
Yeah, I like this all-white vibe. We're talking about Achu's sneakers. You have a look at the sneakers, Yeah. You look good, man.
Mischief today.
Yeah. Good to see you guys, though.
Yeah.
Look, the last time any such thing came up was the Brazil, saga. Now, when 2024, when Côte d'Ivoire, neighboring Côte d'Ivoire, and something similar is coming up. Fans carrying them there to support the national team, issues of money.
This only goes to establish one thing, that and when I say we, those entrusted with power are very indisciplined and not committed to lay down procedures that they are expected to follow, right? And you referenced the Job Fair Commission. A white paper was issued on the back of that, which essentially passed it into law, or the equivalent of that, whatever the recommendations were, because the bulk of those were accepted. And in the wisdom of the commission, having interrogated those who sponsored and came up with the idea to send funds to Brazil, the fans themselves, the team, and investigated the influence of that on the team's performances and the value that the country got out of it, came to the realization that there was no verifiable value. And so that exercise, that concept, whatever it was, did not represent value for money. And so they made the recommendation that this should not happen again. But we have seen AFCON 2019, governments flew supporters to Egypt. The tournament in Cameroon, we flew supporters to Cameroon. World Cup in Qatar, we flew supporters there. And when you listen to the commentary that precedes all of these moves, it tells you where these decisions are coming from, and they are made with strong political backing. And so if you do a quick Google search, you'll find people like Samia Wuku, you'll find the Honorable Sechi Mensah and the likes, others from the NDC, Kobna Women and the likes, also referencing why it is important to get supporters to help the nation in such events. But the reality is this: it is simply an exercise in futility.
Okay, we'll come to that. Just before we cross over to Cote d'Ivoire to have a conversation with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi, I'd like to say big greetings to all of our friends who are watching us from different parts of the world. So those of you in Asia, in Europe, in different parts of the world, thank you so much. And of course, all of our friends on different parts of the African continent, thank you so much for making this your #1 in terms of the analysis and the discussion of the issues on the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. Mufti, good to see you. I realize it's work in progress as usual.
I'm learning how to speak French once more.
Oh, no. Je parle pour français. That's the best I can say, you know. But we'll do that later on, yeah? Muftau, you visited the fans a few, just about an hour ago. What's the situation? Bring us up to speed on it.
Well, it's quite difficult for many people to actually accept and understand what is happening. But it is more of a transition, and I'm sure you have followed the national teams for a very long time. You are very much aware that anytime the Ministry of Youth and Sports takes people out to go and support the national team, the onus is always on the ministry to cater for them.
Very well.
And it is not different in this time around in the African Cup of Nations. In fact, I find it very difficult appreciating the point that the story was rather directed towards the supporters who had claimed that they were going to come back to Ghana because they were not properly taken care of. Government officials who are here have been taken care of by the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Journalists who were flown out here were also taken care of by the Ministry of Youth and Sport. So it is quite selective to direct the story just to the supporters and not even include that the journalists who filed the report actually were also taken care of by the Ministry of Youth and Sport, because it is something that is always